Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Scene for Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. After meeting with the warder, Aiden makes his way back to the pack house. He has his shillelagh on his hip, probably attached to the belt. He'll open the door very gently as, well, he spent most of the night either with his wife and some with 10 Point, and he didn't really get a chance to see Saoirse, so he'll come in, and keeping the shillelagh still on his belt, he'll set up the table very calmly, maybe there'll probably some spare food in the fridge and kind of plop it on the table, and then he'll walk to their rooms, each of them. But the first room he'll definitely go and pop into is Saoirse's because, well, she hasn't seen him yet. And he'll slowly, won't even knock, he'll just slowly push open the door very slowly.
She's in there. She's been patrolling a lot, so she's probably just exhausted and sleeping in her bed. It hasn't really registered to her yet that Aiden is back. She's been that out of it.
He'll walk over. Again, not like with any measure of coldness in his face or anything. He'll just lightly tap her so she just barely awakes, and yeah, when she wakes up, she'll see Aiden's figure standing over her.
Okay, so what she does when she opens her eyes, she blinks, focuses, and sees Aiden. She doesn't say anything. She just glomps him.
Yeah, he takes it in stride and he just, pats her and everything like that. He's much bigger than her, so he just kind of pats the top of her head.
Like, you're back?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
And alive. And she'll just kind of touch him to make sure.
Yeah, I'm alive. Nod wearily.
She just hugs him.
Did you miss me, did you?
She'll nod. I did.
Mom, I'll talk to you too. He'll smile at her, he seems quite happy to see her, he seems very bright. And he'll turn and knock on, knock basically, because he assumes 10 Point's near his room, so he just knock on the door and push it open.
I will give you for free that since 10 Point doesn't have a room and isn't, wouldn't be in his room since he shares it with Sheila, she is probably actually out on the back porch, and let's be honest, he probably could see her through, or even just see the door still cracked open, feel a bit of a breeze coming from it as she is out on the back.
I know what he'll do then. He'll come right behind her, and with Aiden's ability to get right behind her, he'll just literally appear beside her, lean over so his face is beside her face.
And we will say she's antler free at the moment since she's out on the back balcony, and that is no good with antlers. So yeah, she is in the process of she has only just finished hanging up a largish wind chime on the back balcony. For whatever reason she may have. She's a theurge. They do weird things. And it's a very pretty wind chime. It's got a, well, probably not real glass, maybe. It's hard to tell on the clapper, but all in all, it's a very, very pleasant, cool colored setup. And yeah, she's just beginning to take her hands down as he appears next to her. And she snaps out a very abrupt yelp and does that thing you do when you dodge away from something before you can really register what it is, and kind of thumps into the little, the railing on the balcony, kind of throws herself against it. And after, that half a moment of thump, whirling around, staring, you can see the chest heaving as she proceeds to try to get the adrenaline back under control. It just kind of brings a hand up to her chest. Because, oh, Raya, oh, that wasn't very nice.
Oh, now you know how it feels. And you'll turn and walk back in.
There she dies. Oh my god.
You can't even be mad. Oh. I think my heart's trying to explode. And yeah, she'll turn around and kind of follow on autopilot, just kind of Obviously, like, her heart must be, like, thumping against her rib cage. And again, you can see the big, deep breaths as she's, like, calming down the panic response.
Saoirse will say, breathe, 10 point, breathe.
Working on it. Oh, Gaia, that is very distressing.
She'll nod.
I see why you don't like it. Don't mean to.
You just pull out a chair, sit down with it. Don't be you'll be fine. He'll pour tea for everybody as well. And probably take a beer for himself. So, I'm back and alive and more or less whole.
That's good. Very, very good.
Not again. Some Fianna are going to be coming back this way from Tri-Spiral. They're following me over.
Really?
Not. One in
She'll
particular.
smile.
Oh.
Name's Carissa. She's a Ragabash.
And Tim Point just kind of thoughtfully sits back in her chair for a second, mulling over the name, thinking. Finally gives her head a light shake. Because with her just being a Clea, she's well past 10 points time on the sept.
They're coming to fight for the cause, so more numbers.
Saoirse will nod. That's good.
Now, we do have to go back there in a week because I have to bring back the horn. I promised the Alpha that once I showed this as an inspiration to our people, I would return it. So, we'll be taking a wee trip back for a bit.
Do we get to come with you this time?
I mean, I'm not going to complain.
Good.
Just don't mention why I, just don't mention the whole, you know what I mean?
No, she'll shake her head. Nope, not all. Won't mention a word.
Born on Thorns also accepted me into the Brotherhood as well.
That's fantastic. I'm very glad to hear that.
Met with the Warder today.
How'd you like him?
He's a Silverfangaroon. Honorable to the core. He has a stick up his arse, but that's not a bad thing.
I mean, he does, but it's not in a bad way.
What we need. He's what we need.
I completely agree with that.
Tim Point finally looks up from her tea. She'd gotten a bit of a distant look at the thought of going home, but mentioned the Warder, she's kind of perked up and listening again, nodding along.
Now, yeah, challenge was tough. I had to do and say a lot of things, and this might be very important. In terms of our Gleaming Eye ties, we're going to change the use of them. We're going to now change the name Kraus. We're going to change it into something that we own, not them, not Balian, not any of them.
Saoirse will nod at that.
They didn't allow our people to bring back their dead. And because of that, the dead came back and tried to assassinate the Alpha.
Oh.
I saved his life and one of the incidents, so from henceforth, I'll still bear the name Lynch Krause, but our motives will change. We're building power for our people now. Not for the rebirth of House Gleaming Eye. We're building it for the Fianna. And Lynch Krause will be a far different name.
Saoirse will smile at that. Good.
The point of anything looks somewhere between alarmed, uncertain, but bought in. But it's not that she lacks reservations, to be sure.
You turn and look at them all. I gave them hope in there. They felt it and they needed it. The same way as when this horn is around, Saoirse, I want you to give the rest of us, the rest of those people hope. The rest of those Fianna in there.
She'll nod. I Of course.
This place doesn't have any of the stories of home in it. Doesn't have the glories. But we have our own. So for this week, I want you to sing of that in that castle every night.
Okay. I will do that. Of course.
You'll nod. I also heard about Pounce.
I wanted to talk to you about that.
Nod. She's dead.
She was killed by a silverfang cub.
I know who she was killed by. She was killed by an Arun and a menace that wasn't taught properly.
She'll not.
And a fool of a Philodox allowed them to take Krynos form and kill each other.
She'll nod.
I don't blame the Metis for that.
I don't either.
I don't blame an Arun for being an Arun. Who I blame are three people. Bites the Weak, the Philodox, and Pounce.
She nods.
And this has been a final straw with me for Bites the Week.
I have not agreed with his methods at all, and now it's resulted in the death of Cub.
I think it's time that he heard a certain bit of news that, well, I don't think he particularly like.
Saoirse will nod.
And as tale singer, well, I expect you be telling many grandiose tales about the price that he's going to be paying for his actions.
Aye, that was the plan.
Good. We'll just nod again and kind of stand up. Still, we'll put the shillelagh on the table as he takes a long swig of his beer. Going back home changed a few perspective on things for me.
She'll nod.
We still keep our family business and our lessons as family business. We'll turn and look over at them all. But we have to adapt and survive. We're traditional, yes, but we have to have a certain flexibility.
Saoirse will nod at that too.
We'll look over at 10 Point.
Of course, Rhea.
Now, there is a certain incident that happened while I was away that I'm going to address. You look 10 Point right in the face.
Her face falls almost immediately.
Don't look down. Look at me.
And yeah, she flicks her head back up, though she is pretty flagrantly, flushed with shame on this.
Now, since when is it acceptable for a Shadow Lord to be looking after our family? We look at the two of them.
You wanted an opportunity to prove a point, Rhea. And I wanted someone keeping people away from me. Seemed beneficial.
But he didn't, did he? Saoirse was wandering around all night looking for you, and you never told her where you were. And others had to see our family's personal business. One, I might add, and you look over at Saoirse, is challenging for her, is probably eyeing up her position like a fucking vulture. And he's allowed to see what she should be seeing, what I should have been seeing. Now, I wasn't there. Unfortunate circumstances of this situation would have been handled much differently. But you shut out your own family, 10 Point.
And like again, and like the second he's looked away or glanced, especially like probably as he glanced to Saoirse, to comment on him gunning for her position, like the face almost immediately fell again. So she is.
Saoirse's jaw goes tight, and she has sort of a pained expression on her face.
And 10 Point will be looking at her hands.
Now, he'll turn and look at Saoirse. You reacted in anger. When I myself was worried. That's understandable. I'm not going to hold that over you. But shutting me out. And he'll stare at her. And he's not angry. He's very calm. Oddly, eerily calm.
I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
He'll nod slowly. Again, he'll rest his hand on the shillelagh very lightly. Mistakes from... You turn and look at 10 Point.
I did make a mistake in this, but I didn't think anyone would be looking.
Slam! Boom! Like the table ricochets nearly.
She jolts pretty harshly. As a result, sits stiffly upright.
I'm sorry,
even Saoirse jumps at that.
I'm sorry, continue. You didn't think telling someone not from this family, slam! Again, table ricochets, the poor thing.
There's another, like, sharp wince.
Would be a good idea, did you? You didn't think anything would happen?
Thought on the off chance someone did come looking, he would be able to direct them away. Make them lose interest.
What is she? Pointed Saoirse. What's she? What is she to you?
My beta, right?
Slam! Right across, like, I mean, it gets closer and closer to her knees.
Flinches, harsher.
What is she?
Family, right?
So you chose someone who we barely know, who has made it obvious that he is trying to take a position off our family, to cater for you and to respect your privacy from the other members of the Sept over your own family. You chose that.
I did.
And now you're trying to slam, you know?
Yeah, each time he slams, she just clams the fuck up and jolts tightly again.
And now you're trying to justify it to me.
Sorry, Ryan.
Now, you'll say again, resting the shillelagh down on the table as the table starts to wobble a little bit. Now, shutting each other out from all aspects is not what I made this pack for. It's not what I took over this pack for. It's not what I drive this pack to be. We are a family. We do anything for each other. And if that means we see each other in the worst of times, we see each other. You look at both of them. Then the eyes start to widen. They get that wild look about them.
Oop, sorry. 10-point looks not like she's about to just bust out crying, but kind of that just on the verge of tears just by virtue of being badly shaken. But not like she's about to dissolve or anything like that. Just very tight, very tense body language.
Saoirse's just listening. And she's got that, she's a bit of shame in her demeanor.
Now, he'll lean back. Now, this is my next point that's been playing on my mind. And something, as I was meeting with the warder, I was thinking. It's been playing for a while. How in the fuck did Jason know it was 10-Point's birthday? Did Razvan tell him?
10-Point rapidly shakes her head.
No, I told him.
There's like I would say a 10-second pause. Where he almost stares at the shillelagh. And his mind he almost seems to just bob his head slowly. He doesn't look like he's about to rage out or anything. His breath just seems to just come in, out, and the silence builds and builds.
10-Point practically stops breathing the longer the silence stretches. It just gets shallower and shallower.
So does Saoirse. She's actually actively holding her breath.
Eventually the breath will come then. I see. I asked you something, Saoirse, before I left. I asked to make sure that nobody from this family, that is not of this family, see that or hear about it. We keep it quiet for 10-Point's sake. For our sake. Did I not? Again, the voice is eerily calm. That probably makes the tension so much more terrifying. He's just really calm. It's so much worse.
It is so much worse. Like, oh my god. She'll nod.
And you disobeyed me. It seems while I've been away, you two have been thick as thieves.
10-Point would be staring studiously at her tea, but the table has been slammed many times, and her teacup is definitely on the floor by now.
Yep.
So she's staring at that spot where a bit of it has spilled on the tablecloth. Oh, that's going to stain. She's just going to stare at it.
He'll wait for if any of them want to say anything before he continues speaking, but he just seems to just stare at the two of you. Very calm, a very measured stare from both of you as his head just slowly ping-pongs from the two of you.
Saoirse doesn't have anything to say. She's not staring at Aiden, but
slam. I mean, he just still staring at Saoirse. He hits right on 10 Point's hand. Just boom.
Right on her what?
Hand, where she's staring at the tea, so the cup shatters.
If her hand was on the table, it is it is in bad shape.
Saoirse
Gives a
winces.
sharp yelp, pulls the hand back, probably just in shock because he hasn't hit her this entire time and she wasn't expecting it. Probably like topples the chair. Somehow doesn't end up on the floor, but the chair does.
Don't go in my mind. 10 Point. Am I understood? Until I say you can. Still doesn't take his eyes off Saoirse.
She looks shamefaced and dutifully nod, holding the one hand fairly close for a couple moments until she can start moving the fingers again.
Sit back down.
Yes, sir.
And this time the voice will sound very cold, like he's almost not there.
She will, as soon as her fingers are working, will reach down, right the chair, and sit in it again.
Now, you say the voice evening out again. Now, that little bit of unpleasantness is out of the way. Who has taken care of both of you when you were in your most dire of needs?
You, Freya.
Waits for, like, I mean, it's almost like his head fractionally turns, waiting for that response from 10 Point.
You do, Raya.
And yet you treat me this way. You treat each other this way. But, say smiling, as the shillelagh switches hands and taps the Saoirse's side of the table, just bam, 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 bam. But you all seem to forget that I don't forget a single thing that I've done for you all. Because I love you both very much. And I'd do anything to protect you both. And yet you treat me this way. What am I to do? You'll lean back, still bam, 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 bam on the table with the shillelagh.
I'm more than happy, Raya, to do my duties as Omega. You feel wronged?
No. In fact, for your punishment, I'm not going to teach you a lesson. For 2 weeks, you get to sit there. Because you don't deserve a lesson from me. You get to feel what it's like.
As strange as it might be to an outside view, she actually looks completely crestfallen as a result. Her head actually kind of droops. Like she's already been looking down for the most part, but she actually just kind of slumps a bit. It's a very defeated posture. Yes, Raya.
He'll turn and look at Saoirse again. There's no malice in his voice. It's so fucking eerily calm. And you, Saoirse, for 2 weeks, he'll smile slowly. They're not menacing, not sadistic, just a faint smile. For 2 weeks, you will you will know what it feels like to be her. You'll look right at 10 Point. You'll be the one I'll be taking my frustration on. For 2 weeks, both of you. Of course, in the privacy of the Pax company. Outside, you will be Beta. You will get the respect you deserve. Both of you. But for 2 weeks... And don't cry. And I understand why you did it, and this is why my punishment is so light. Because I understand. And I care for you both very deeply. And I've had time to think. And I forgive you. Both of you. But I wouldn't be much of an alpha if I didn't enforce a lesson now, would I?
Saoirse shakes her head. All right.
Looks over at 10 Point.
Of course not, Rhea.
And he'll pat both their hands. He'll extend his hand for both of them to take it.
I mean, he finally puts the shillelagh down.
Yeah, he does. He nests it down very fondly beside him. All is forgiven. We shall look at this as just a bad memory. And once the lesson is done, it is done, and we shall never mention it again.
She's actually very eager in accepting the hand.
Look at the two of them to see how they're measuring that.
Saoirse's very eager to put this behind her. Absolutely. Like, oh God.
And I'm assuming both of you will do anything to make sure that this never, ever happens again.
Saoirse nods profusely. Aye, Raya.
Yes,
she looks pointedly at 10 Point.
Yeah, like I said, 10 Point reached out for the hand the moment it was being extended. It seems to be, if anything, a relief that it is being resolved. For all that the determined punishments are a bit on the creative side, you know what? Once it's punished, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she reaches out eagerly for the hand and nods agreement.
Now, he says, smiling, it's good to be home, and I miss the two of you. I missed you two a lot.
Missed you too.
Well, you know what? Why don't we go out and have a bit of a wee celebration? After all, we're together again as a family. What do you think?
Saoirse will nod in agreement. It's cautious, but...
I'll leave you two girls to it. I'm going to go get a shower. He'll stand up, flick the bat over his shoulder, and just whistle as he's walking into his room.
Yeah, if anything, 10 Point is maybe a little loath to let the hand go, but she doesn't hold on to him. Temptation aside. And only once he has completely cleared the room, Lee rouse up from the chair, crouch down, and start retrieving the parts of their poor teacups. And probably once she has dumped those in the trash, we'll take a rag, pitch it over the carpet, that poor carpet, and snag off the tablecloth to hurriedly put it in the wash before the stain has time to set. Would you like to do anything else, Lindsay?
Saoirse, she'll actually help pick up the pieces of the teacups, and then she'll go off to the bathroom, splash water on her face because she's trying very hard to keep herself from just crying. But she manages to not. And then she'll come back out and sit down on the couch and wait.
Yep, 10 Point will very single-mindedly go about very rote actions, cleaning up, pulling out a new tablecloth. Probably even if it takes him long enough to primp, will go so far as to tend the 3 shrines in the apartment. But all in all, it will definitely be a keeping busy until Aiden is ready and the 3 of them depart.
Yeah, he comes out, swaggering out. Will put his arms around both of them very fondly and nestle them both into his chest. Very much like a father. Now, let's go take my two favorite girls out.
Saoirse smiles. Like she can't. Yeah, she just really likes the attention from Aiden, so she's just yeah. God.
And yeah, lead them out to go get cake and food and beer, and it's all lovely.
Yeah,
So lovely.
It's lovely.
So as this fucked up trio bond, as only this fucked up trio can, I dare say it is about time to say thank you, players, for playing, and thank you, viewers. I see you for watching, and we will see you next time on the Living World of Darkness. Fucking shenanigans across New York. I can't even.